Never doubt your strength. Ravi had spent most of his life believing he was ordinary. He worked as a clerk in a small office, earning just enough to get by. Every morning, he took the same crowded bus, walked the same streets, and sat at the same desk. His life was predictable, and deep down, he had convinced himself that this was all he was capable of. Yet, inside him, there was a silent yearning, an unspoken desire to do something meaningful, something bigger. But every time that thought surfaced, another voice in his head reminded him of his failures, his weaknesses, and his limitations. "You're not strong enough," it whispered. "You're not meant for great things." One evening, Ravi received a phone call that changed everything. His mother had collapsed at home. When he rushed to the hospital, the doctor's face was grave. "She needs urgent surgery," he said. "It's costly, but if we delay, it will be too late." Ravi's heart pounded. He had no savings, no assets, and no one to turn to for such a huge amount of money. The weight of helplessness crushed him. He sat outside the hospital, staring at the traffic, his mind racing. "This is it," the voice inside him sneered. "This is the moment you prove you're weak. You can't do this." But then, something changed. A new voice, buried deep within him, rose up. "No," it said, "you don't have the luxury to give up." Ravi wiped his tears and stood up. He had no choice but to fight. He went to his employer and begged for an advance, but they refused. He ran from one bank to another, but they turned him away. He called distant relatives, childhood friends, anyone he could think of, but help was scarce. Determined not to let his mother down, Ravi took up 2 extra jobs. He worked as a delivery boy in the evenings, rushing from one restaurant to another, delivering food on his old bicycle. At night, he worked in a factory, loading and unloading heavy boxes. He hardly slept, surviving on tea and determination. The days turned into weeks. His body ached, his eyes burned from exhaustion, but he didn't stop. Every rupee he earned went straight to the hospital. He didn't allow himself to feel tired or hopeless, because his mother's life depended on him. People around him noticed his struggle. Some admired him, others mocked him. "You're killing yourself," they said. "You'll never make enough." But Ravi had no time for their words. One evening, after a particularly grueling shift, he collapsed on the pavement. A kind stranger helped him up and offered him water. "Why are you pushing yourself so hard?" the man asked. Ravi, exhausted but unwavering, replied, "Because I have no other choice. Because my strength is the only thing keeping my mother alive." The stranger, moved by his determination, connected him with a charitable organization that provided medical assistance. With their help and his own relentless effort, Ravi finally gathered the money. The day his mother was discharged, she held his hand and said, "I always knew you were strong. The only person who doubted it was you." At that moment, Ravi understood something profound. Strength isn't just about muscles or power. Strength is refusing to surrender when everything is against you. It's believing in yourself when no one else does. With this new realization, Ravi didn't stop at just saving his mother. He worked harder, started his own business, and eventually became successful. But more than the money or status, what truly mattered was what he had discovered about himself. He was never weak. He was never ordinary. He was always stronger than he had believed. And so are you.